Okay.
Welcome
Right.
to Hello Business in the Front
Party in the Back
podcast.
podcast. The wrap up.
The August wrap up. Yeah, it's good to be back. Good to be back. It's nice to catch up once a month, Lauren.
Yeah, that's right. I'm Lauren, as Michelle said, and that's Michelle.
A bit of a place, not used to having the visuals in front of us. We wanted to catch up, Lauren, as a listener at home knows, we have a podcast that drops weekly, but sometimes we like to just get here, get in front of you guys so you can see us and we can interact this way as well. And the idea, of course, is about us just chatting about some of the episodes from August, from the month of August. Now we're into September, and tell you a bit about our favourites that we loved and some of our takeaways as well.
Yes. So why don't we go over, I guess, the episodes that launched in August, and then we'll let our listener at home, that's you, let you know about, like Michelle said, our favorite takeaways. So basically, we had an episode that was about safeguarding against trolls. And in that episode, we actually talked about trolling, and it was sort of inspired by an incident that Michelle had. We talked with the guest of the, she's a fabulous guest, Annette Densham from the Audacious Agency. And we talked a lot about crisis plans and stuff like that. So that was a really powerful episode.
Yeah, and it was a good takeaway for us because our situation's improved based on a lot of the stuff that we learned from that conversation. So that's,
Exactly.
What better takeaway can you have than that?
Exactly.
Another chat that we had, Lauren, which was really awesome in August, was communicating effectively. And that was with one of my favorite humans in the world, Sharon Chapman, the relationship coach. We say relationship coach, but I use that term very loosely because it's not just, husbands and wives. We all have relationships with our family, all sorts of things. So what she does is much wider spread. But, sometimes as we, discussed before that particular topic was decided upon, was sometimes when we're changing, schedules and moving things around, we do have to consider, the other person and how we communicate that to them, and, vice versa. And I think our communication is excellent, and that definitely helped me, our conversation with Sharon in terms of my relationship at home with my husband. The little Post-it note tip, that was awesome, rather than bombarding them with all this information. So that was a great takeaway for me from that episode.
We also had a really fabulous episode, which was How to Win at Publishing. And that featured our special guest, Jason Smith from Ocean Read Publishing. And Jason really went into, tips and tricks on, things to think about when you're publishing a book. He talked about different types of publishers. Michelle shared a bit of her story in relation to getting her book published through Ocean Read Publishing. And we talked about, some tips and tricks on really how to get started if you want to, be a writer, or if you, want to put out a book eventually. So that was a really good one.
Hey, Lauren, remember, 10 words a day. It's all it takes, minimum. 10 words a day. Right. The other one that we had a chat about more recently was the side hustle, which was really cool. And that was with Flavorista. So that was a really great chat. Learned heaps about, doing that thing on the side, like getting that business on the side. And I think since COVID, a lot more people have been doing that, having that business on the side. Flavorista is a great business. Kylie is the lady we spoke to from Flavorista. And that's something that has really evolved, I think, for herself and her business partner into this huge, big business. Like, it's amazing. And who doesn't have food, as we always say. So that was really great, really good way to learn how to do something different, because, let's be honest, COVID changed a lot for us. So it's great to have that extra income. You never know.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that, when I reflect on the last month and some of the big takeaways, I really liked that in the episode with Annette, she talked a lot about having a crisis plan, because essentially I think that when we go into business, and, you and I have really just sort of launched our businesses officially kind of in April, or more on like a, 24/7 kind of basis. And, having a crisis plan was something that I never really thought about needing. But I liked how she really made it, clear that you need to have these things in place for those what if moments. And so I really like some of the really tangible takeaways and the action steps that she gave us in that conversation. I also really thought that this side hustle conversation was really great, because just like you said, you know, when you think about all the challenges that people are having through COVID, you and I both lost our jobs. You know, these are things that you want to have in place because you just never know what could happen. And I think one of the big things that came out of that conversation with Flavorista was a lot about how you want to do something that's authentic with you, because something that's authentic with you, Michelle, isn't necessarily going to feel the same way to me, right? And so I really liked how there are a whole bunch of different types of side hustles that you can have. And in fact, a couple months ago in our episode, Money, 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 you know, we did talk to our guest expert, Wayne Price, about, you know, options for side hustles as well. So if you're really looking, you know, those 2 episodes are really good. But I liked how it was really about, you know, maintaining integrity with who you are and your own values, and not necessarily just doing something because, you know, maybe it could bring in some money, but really connecting with it.
Yeah, and tying that in with the independent publishing, which was a conversation with Jason Smith from Ocean Reeve. He spoke a bit about that in terms of the book that you're writing, making sure that that is in alignment, you know, with what you're doing in life and things like that. So, you know, if you've got someone who's very stereotyped into a particular area, like Hulk Hogan, writing a book about flower pressing or scrapbooking, you know, that may not go so well. I think it is important for it to be all be in alignment, and that seems to be kind of a theme for a lot of our conversations.
That's true.
Yeah, the communication one with Sharon was one of my favorites, and the trolls as well, because that was very useful for me. But I think with Sharon, there was a lot of things in there that I didn't realize, you know, when she said about some of the stats about resentment and things like that and relationships. You know, there was a lot of stuff in there that I really didn't know. And she had some really great sort of step-by-step tips, you know, on how to work through issues with relationships in general. And I found that really helpful for me. And it's just about, you know, because I communicate and you communicate with people on a daily basis, and I want to make sure that I'm doing that well, and not sort of upsetting anyone, or, you know, I do try to put pleasantries in a little bit now into my conversations, into emails, SMSs, whatever I'm doing. And generally I'll just be like, bam, 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 thank you, ma'am. And sometimes a little bit more about that, you know, the pleasantries and things. Yeah, exactly.
So definitely so many takeaways. You know, the fact that you and I just summarized them so quickly. I mean, there are really, every single episode is so rich. And, you know, really you can, you know, subscribe to the Business in the Front, Party in the Back podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And if you have a provider, I'm talking to you at home, that, you know, you can't find us on, please do send us a message and we'll make sure that you can find us there.
Yes. Yes. And comment, you know, comment, share, leave your thoughts. Some people are doing that, and we really appreciate that. If there is something that you'd like us to talk about, let us know, because at the moment it's kind of Lauren and I brainstorming together, but you have a lot of ideas, I'm sure, out there as well. So let us know if there's something that you think we should be talking about, and you can comment on any of those social media pages that we have. We're even on, what's that one with the videos? What's it called? When you do the TikTok.
Oh, TikTok. Well, we haven't done anything on TikTok. So. Don't go to TikTok just yet.
Pinterest as well. Yeah. So we're on all the different major social media pages. And we would love to hear from you, because that's what this is all about. It's not just Lauren and I catching up, although we love to do that, but also to hear from our listener at home as well. So lots of takeaways, and we're probably going to wrap up soon, Lauren, unless there's anything you wanted to add to what I just said.
No.
Okay, so that has been the Business in the Front,
Party in the Back podcast wrap up.
Yeah, and if you love what you hear, as always, tell everybody, share it with everyone, share the love, and if you didn't love what you heard,
don't tell anybody.
What was I was meant to say after? I've just forgotten.
You're just supposed to say new episode out Friday.
New episode out Friday.
Very good. Thank you at home, and we'll talk to you on Friday.